Trauma, toxic stress, broken habit, and hurting heart don't define destiny, but peace isn't passive. It requires an exchange. To create a flip and access peace in the middle of the pieces, you are challenged to make an exchange of the lies that have kept you mentally hostage in basement moments. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, brings powerful stories and fearless conversations from experts in the field of business, relationships, emotional, physical, and mental health, and faith-based communities. Each episode creates a brave space with powerful tools from authentic connections. Tune in as we dig in with Dr. Jackson on the flip side of adversity. Hello, and welcome to the flip side of adversity. I am so happy to be back in this chair. I appreciate being able to be off all summer, but there is something about living in your purpose that energizes you when it's time to get back to work. And I am excited. I've actually been sitting on the end of my seat to be able to launch season 12, y'all. I remember when I didn't even think this was possible. And here we are at season 12. And this is a significant moment because in this moment with this particular guest, it actually takes me back to the entire reason why I started this show, the reason why I named it what it is. Because there was a season and time in my life where I genuinely thought the mistakes that I had made were going to define how far I could go. And I was stuck. I was ruminating. I was in a place where I really believed that because of what didn't happen for me, or the things that I believed were limitations that I had, that's all that was possible. And I created this show because I want to know. I honestly believe there are those who are out there. I've run into you. You have shared and poured back into my soul, sharing how much you appreciate my voice and this work. But I know there are those that I wasn't by myself. There are those who are believing and holding on to regret, who are invested in fear, who are self-sabotaging, who are in a place of discouragement. And I created the flip side of adversity so that I could actively, every single week, remind you, be evidence for you, and to create space and voice for others who are living the same truth, that what you've been through, the limitations you have, the mistakes you've made, do not define where you are able to go. And if there's anyone who can complement the launch of season 12 and this truth, it is this guest. Shawn Harper is going to walk us through how do you go from someone with barriers, barricades, who could have been identified as a nobody, all the way to the NFL, and is now living out his truth and purpose and encouragement and light. And so I'm excited that I have the privilege and honor of having Shawn Harper as my launch guest to season 12. So let's do the thing and let's talk about how adversity doesn't have to hold you back, that it can actually be your launch pad for record breakers. Come on in, Shawn. Welcome to the flip side of adversity.
Hey, thank you for having me. Great introduction. I'm just kind of sad that this is one of the first times I ever heard of your show. Won't be the last. I love the concept of dealing with adversity. People always get caught up in adversity, but the truth is that adversity can break you, but it also can make you a record breaker. The difference
Yes.
is perspective. The difference is perspective. Winners always look to what they're going to. Victims tend to focus on what they're going through.
So true. I 100, and I knew when we initially spoke that we were like-minded. And so I'm excited to be able to just settle in and have a conversation with someone that this isn't book knowledge, this is life lessons of
Yeah, yeah,
experience and wisdom. But
yeah, yeah.
can you take us back? Did you always have that mindset? What helped you? Because I read your bio.
Right, right.
You weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth and
No.
positivity. So can you take us back and give us a perspective on where the little version of Sean?
Yeah. So the little version of Sean was chained with tons of just rejection, trauma, a lot of stories that people could relate to. A single parent setting. My mom raised all six of us by herself on the south side of Columbus, Ohio. Challenged educationally, born with well documented with about 4 to 5 learning disabilities. Stuttered my entire life, couldn't complete a sentence till college, kicked out of, not one, two, almost three schools for disciplinary issues, graduating with a 1.62 cumulative GPA, 9 on my ACT. Yeah, mom raising all six of us by herself. We didn't grow up poor, we grew up po. It's a big difference. It's a big
That's
difference
a whole
between,
truth. That's a whole truth.
yeah. It's like some kids are like, "Mom, you're so poor. We don't have the newest PlayStation." I'm like, "Bruh." It's like we didn't have milk with cereal. We used water with
Mm,
cereal. That type of struggle. And the coach would always say, "Sean, you have potential." Like, what the heck is
mm,
potential, right? All I saw is problems. And then I get a phone call from a junior college, a 2-year school in Mason City, Iowa. And the coach is like, "We want to bring you to Mason City to play football. And I'm like, "I have nothing else to do." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll
mm,
go." And my mom loads up the station wagon, back then, old school station wagon. And we drive about 800 miles to
wow.
between two cornfields in Mason City, Iowa. And she stayed with me for 24 hours. First time ever being away from home. She drops me off. She says, "Son, sink or swim. Let's go." And she pulled off. And the first year, I was struggling. I sat the bench. I would carry the water for all the starters. I was just really wanting to give up, and so much so that I called my mom, thinking that my mom's gonna say, "Baby, just come on home. It's okay," like so many moms do, right? And she fought against that. Like, where are you going? I've already given your room away. You have to stick this out. And then I had a conversation that changed my entire life. And the conversation was this: You're right, I can't be successful. I don't have what it takes to be successful, but I can win. In
Mm,
fact, uh, in fact, I'm a winner,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So from a clinical perspective, all actions stem from thoughts. All thoughts come from your belief system, and that's where about 95% of all success teachers stop. Just one level deeper. That's called your self-concept. And not knowing what I was doing, I was redefining and relabeling my self-concept to that of a winner. And one thing I've learned in life is that you never get what you want. You will always have what you are. So I'm a winner. And so I begin to see things different. I begin to see obstacles as opportunities. And I went from sitting on the bench at junior college year one to being placed into the Junior College Hall of Fame, year two. Stuttering
Wow.
my entire life, becoming a motivational speaker, graduating from junior college, going to Indiana University, blocking for Heisman candidate, draft day in the NFL, third pick in the fourth round. I got 7 years professional football up under my belt, and I took the same methodology and strategy of winning, and I applied it to not only the workplace but in life. That I spend day in and day out, I protect the win within, because I know that once that's in my heart, then as a vibration in the frequency, which I don't want to really get into, but it just exudes from you, and I live my life from the wind within.
So I'm curious, what are your daily habits? Because I also believe that we all have an energy. People tell me about my energy all the time, and we can't always see what people see, but they're like, oh, there's something about your energy. And so it becomes contagious. I'm curious, what are your daily habits to sustain that? And because I believe someone is listening saying, well, that's
Well, well,
great
well.
that you think yourself to be a winner, but I can't even see myself, I can't even look myself in the mirror. What
Yeah,
are your
yeah.
practices to sustain that?
So many, because life life attacks that win.
Mhm.
Life has a vested interest in placing you in a reactionary state. And as long as you can react, you can never proact. So life always tells you passive or passive aggressively, tells you who you are and who you're not. And you always have to feed. You always have to feed and address, okay, address the self-talk and to say, this is who I am. This is what I'm not. This is where I go. My motto is three words, is live, give, and forgive. I live my life not on rules. I don't live on rules. I live on laws. I live my life on spiritual laws. And if you break laws, laws will break you. So the first one is live. I always try to maximize now. Even though I'm always trying to take over the world, I always maximize the moment now. I live in the now because I don't want my moments to become memories. Okay?
Yeah.
So I live in the now. That's number one. Number two, I give. My mom taught me that. When my dad left my mom, God told her, if you give to the poor every month, World Vision, I'll never forget it. If you give to the poor every month, I will always take care of you.
Mm.
And I live my life on the same principle. I give. I'm a giver. I just sow seed, sow seed, sow seed, knowing I may never sit under the shade trees that it actually
Mm-hmm.
produces. And
Mm-hmm.
number three, which I believe is the most important, is forgive. I live my life constantly, constantly forgiving, forgiving, forgiving. Because what happens is that if you, if, and it's very deep. About 80 to 90% of so many diseases are traced back to anger, bitterness, and unforgiveness.
Yeah.
Is that if you live your life with resentment, anger, bitterness, and unforgiveness, it literally blocks God's blessings in your life.
Mm.
And so I live my life sometimes 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a day. Lord, I forgive them. Lord, I forgive them. Lord, forgive me. Lord, I forgive them. And from a scientifical perspective, or that's not even the word, a scientific perspective, what it does is that it keeps the vibrational center of my being pure, which is your heart. Your heart uh, uh, actual frequency is 2 to 5,000 times greater than the vibration of your brain. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
everything comes from your heart. Everything. If you look in the Word of God, it talks about the heart, the heart, the heart.
Mm-hmm.
It all starts in your heart. And so, if there's bitterness and unforgiveness and shame and guilt, evil twins in your heart, it will block your energy, it will block your vibration, it will block your frequency. So my day starts off, this is kind of crazy, guys, but I wake up around 3:30 in the morning and I go into prayer. Yeah.
I'm four.
Mm-hmm.
People always talk about me. People
Mm-mm.
always talk about me.
Mm-mm.
4 a.m. in prayer, my scripture, my breathing practice, devote like 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Thank you for
Yes.
validating me. If
Yes.
there's anything
Yes.
else that happens, You have validated
Three,
me.
and it's and you know what? And it's so weird. I don't even have to set my clock. I just wake up
Yeah.
3:30, 3:38, whatever. I'm up. I'm walking the floors. I'm praying, and I am praying in the spirit, but I also invoke one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and that's gratitude.
Mm,
Gratitude is so powerful. The actual vibration of gratitude is amazing. Gratitude will always determine your attitude, which will determine your altitude. Okay, and so I move into gratitude, and then I'm off to the gym, and then I come back, and then I spend about a half hour on the porch with my queen, my wife. Every morning we just sit there. She makes me just crazy. I don't know what's in this coffee. Okay, it's like mushrooms and turkey tail, cayenne pepper. I don't know what's in this stuff, but she brings a little coffee out. She's like, cat's claw. She brings it, and we sit on our porch and we just look at the birds, and it has blessed me because it slows the day
yeah.
down,
Yeah.
and that's how I
Yeah.
start my day.
You know what? Everything about that confirms and validates things that I live by, and I often try to share with others. I had posted last week that I was having an interview, and the interviewer asked, "You come off so confident. Do you ever doubt yourself? Do you ever get into a hopeless place?" And I said, "You know what? There are times in which I am doubting or questioning, like, did I get on the wrong bus? But I can't stay there." And the things that I tell other people, get up and move, get present in your body, pay attention to not just your feelings but the sensations in your body. If you are in a place of stagnation and being sedentary, it's going to affect your heart and your mind. And so everything you just shared just continues to confirm and validate that, especially with someone who legitimately has had a story in which you could sit back and say, "You know what, life has dealt me a hard hand. And you know what, I deserve to be able to give up." And you're like, "No, I'm a winner." And the ability to separate success from winning is
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah,
Our
yes,
culture absolutely is so focused on success, but you did something different there.
yes. People people who are focused on success, their their whole mind their mind shift or their
Mhm,
mindset is production.
mhm.
Production. Winners focus on reproduction. Okay,
Mm,
is that to reproduce in the lives and people of others. Winning, by the way, is the fullest expression of who you are mentally, spiritually, emotionally, financially, and for me, most importantly, legacy. So how do
yeah.
I reproduce that? How do I not only produce, but how do I reproduce in the lives and people around you, around me and others?
When you think of the things that you had to overcome, and when things don't go well, oftentimes I think about the labels that people place on others when they see low performance, or they see behaviors that are not favorable, or they see someone who may have a learning disability. They put them in boxes, or they lay
Mm-hmm.
a label on top of them. If you think about the young person today who is struggling because they have been put in a box, what advice would you give them as they are struggling, recognizing, you know, Shawn said, "I'm my fullest potential of myself," but I've been put in this box. What advice do you give someone?
Well, the advice that I would give is very important is what you just said. I have been put in this box. That means I put myself in this box.
Mm,
Okay. Now, this just happened this morning. I'm doing my walk, and I didn't mention my little walk and stuff, right? So I try to walk. So I'm doing my walk, and I am regurgitating a failure. Actually, when I failed the first grade, right? It's just for some reason it's just coming up, and I'm feeling the anxiety of it. Oh, and by the way, we are always becoming. So I work with and I coach speakers and motivational speakers and some success, a lot of success gurus. And don't ever, 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 can never, ever get the thought that they've made it, because we are some of the most insecure people out there. Okay, trust me. I talk with them. I work with them. Like, okay, trust me. Okay, no. Okay, don't do that. Don't look at them and say, well, they got it and I don't.
mhm,
Okay, I'm walking and I'm going through that moment where I'm like, I'm literally hearing my mom say, "You failed." Because that's what she did when I
mm,
failed the first grade. She yelled repeatedly, "You failed, you failed." And so I'm sitting there walking, and I realized a technique that I learned years ago. Well, wait a second, Sean, you have to recraft that story. So
yeah.
I'm the author. I'm the author, right? And I was like, well, wait a second. Did I fail? No, no, I didn't fail. And even if I did, so what? And I just kept going through that. So what? And I was able to extract not the fact that I had to repeat or fail the first grade, but the emotion behind it.
Mm,
It dissolved because I was able to recategorize and recreate and rebrand my story. So things that you've gone through, go back, use your mind, pray about it, and re let's just change that script.
yeah.
Let's just change that script and say, you know what? Let me extract gratitude from that. Let me extract forgiveness from that. Let me, have grace to that. And I'm going to rewrite that story. And I'm going to take that energy that's there. And once you flip that story, the energy that's trying to hold you back will be the same energy that will push you
Mhm,
forward, because
mhm,
energy is energy.
mhm, mhm. The there's so much in there that I could unpack for days. I literally was speaking to a group of leaders today, and I challenged them as they're going into the school year, a room full of administrators and principals and assistant principals and department heads. I challenged them that as you go into the school year, there's there's a list of things that you want to do. I'm asking you, who are you going to be? Who are you
Hmm.
going to be this year when the changes happen, when the things go wrong, when the staff person or the kiddo continues to push your but who are you going to be? Because there's always going to be something coming at you. But you've got to define who you are going to be now so that when something happens, you have something to look at. You're like, or you know what? On August 8th, I wrote down that this is who I'm going to be, regardless of situations. So that becoming piece is so powerful. And
Hmm.
the emotion piece, when you said that, my whole insides went, oh, that's it. When
Hmm.
we are willing to actually look at the emotion and reshape it instead of run from it, huge. That
Hmm.
is huge. It's golden. It is golden.
Hmm.
Have you always, as you, I guess my question is, as you really began, as you saw the trajectory of your life continue to grow and soar, and you're in the NFL and you are doing significant things on platforms in front of people, how did you continue to stay grounded and clear, not boastful, and navigate the emotions that I would assume would be surrounding you as you're moving from one stage to the next?
I fight, I fight, I fight for humility.
Mm,
I fight for that because I'm scared. I, I, I'm scared of pride. Pride is
mm,
dangerous. Pride is like bad breath. Everyone knows you have it except for you, you know? And it's like pride is so dangerous. It's so dangerous physically, it's dangerous spiritually. And you know, I fight to stay humble before
mhm,
God. To stay,
mhm,
no, not humble, but broken before God.
mm, mhm,
That
mhm.
is my fight, is because I know how dangerous it can be. I've seen great men, great
Yeah,
women
yeah,
fall and get uncovered and be exposed. I'm like, man, God, help me.
yeah.
It wasn't always like that for me, and I'll be really honest and open and transparent. A lot of my drive and motivation early on was to prove the naysayers wrong. But in that, I found, and I'm still finding, that there's a small micro piece that may have believed what they said. So I'm really fighting against myself. And
Mm,
I'm really pushing for that. And there's anger there. And the thing about anger is this, it always destroys the container that it's held in. Okay?
mm,
It will break you down. And at some point in your ascension, you have to convert. And this is what God is working with me now in levels in this. At some level, you have to convert that anger energy to love. Love is a much cleaner energy. It burns a
mhm.
lot pure, stronger. Love is a very powerful force.
Yeah,
And allow my motivation to be grafted in love. And perfect love casts out all fear. And
yeah.
so that's my goal. That's the journey that I'm on now. Is to be purely motivated by love to do what I do, not resentment. I got you back, and I'm the man now.
There's so much healing in your transformation, in your growth, in your progress. I've heard you say forgiveness, gratitude, presence, and now love. It feels like you are literally creating an ingredient or a recipe for really solid living. What lessons would you say you are currently learning of from the season you are in right now?
Uh, Either he is God of all or he is not God at all.
Mm, mm,
That's the lesson that I'm learning. You know, it's so easy to feel and praise God when you got seven figures in the bank account, you know?
mhm.
And it's so easy when, everything is going great. I want to have that faith uh, when there's nothing.
Yeah.
Uh, like I just got off the phone with a ministry in Pakistan,
Mhm.
and how he is believing God for his orphanage to have food tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? It's like that is I want to have that type of faith. I want to have that type of brokenness that it just rubs off of me.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is just when you think you're there, he
There's
takes
an
it.
there's another opportunity.
You know what it's like? I'm gonna tell you what it's like. It's like lifting weights in the weight room.
Yeah.
It's like you struggle to get two plates on there, and then your trainer God says,
Mm,
why don't we add on another plate? And it's like, oh, it's crushing me. And then after a
yeah.
while, if you keep lifting, you get stronger. And just when you think you could with 315, he's like, I got another level for you. No,
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
no, yes, no,
Yeah.
yes, okay, yes. And then he puts four plates on there, and it's food. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm there because you asked me
yeah.
what I before we came on, you asked me what was I what is my focus for this season, and understanding and really connecting with My true strength is in surrender,
Hmm.
and that that ability to be so surrendered that if if none of the technology works, if nothing that you plan happens, I'm still going to say, okay, Lord, you've given me this
Yeah.
opportunity. So what do you want to do with it? What I
Yes.
wanted isn't happening, but I believe you so much. I believe in your character. I believe in who you have said you are. I believe in who you have said I am. I believe in the plan you have for me that I may not even understand. And you have already said, I don't know. I believe so much in that, that I'm going to surrender this moment. I'm going to let go of what I thought I should have or what I thought I should be able to do, and truly just allow you to have your way. And then get excited about the surprise. Like, oh, I see what you did there, God.
Yeah. Uh, allowing God to crush your expectations.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is that we expect God to show up in a particular way.
yeah.
We have an expectation of the outcome on how it's going to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And so many people miss it because he doesn't fit our expectations. Like if you look at the disciples, it was expectation. Like, oh yeah, you're going to come today and set the kingdom up, or you're going to do this, or surely you're God. No, don't talk to God because he's this and this. And the Pharisees, they miss God because these are
Mm-hmm.
Pharisees. These are people who can quote the Torah,
Mm-hmm.
but they miss God because he didn't fit their expectations. Only
Yeah.
two people in the temple recognized Jesus. I think Anna and Simeon, out of
Mm-hmm.
all the priests and the high priest in the temple, the baby Jesus is
Mm-hmm.
wise because
Mm-hmm.
they had expectations.
Yeah.
And we miss a lot because it doesn't fit our narrative, our worldview,
Yeah.
our expectations. Let God crush them.
When those expectations and you've tied it to what you are thinking your life is going to look like, and you have to then be willing to course correct. I feel like there are people who are constantly in this place of, okay, this isn't turning out the way I thought it was going to be. And they have a choice of either staying stuck and trying to control it and make it that thing, or they can actually begin to surrender, course correct, and begin to look for opportunity, as you said before. With someone who is trying to navigate changes in situations that what my plan isn't working out the way I thought it would be, what are some tools or some strategies? You've given us love, you've given us gratitude, you've given us forgiveness. How do you navigate course correction or change in a practical daily way?
Wow, wow, that's a great. Whew, that is a great answer. One of the things that that you have to do, or I believe that you have to do, is that you have to call in account your expectations. And what I mean by that is that He's God and you're not. It's the proper perspective. And I don't want to get into the whole thing of praise and worship, but it's like He is God and you're not.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to understand that so much is based off of position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all communication is based off of is 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 based off of position. So the way that I talk to the president of the United States is not the way that I'm going to be talking right now because there's a different
Mm-hmm.
position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now all of a sudden you have God. This is His position. Now you know His position. So where's your position? Now all communication goes from there. You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand who God is. In other words, the fear of the Lord is a
Mm-hmm.
very good antidote for that. That's number one. And number two is to have people on your team. You know, every king needs a priest. Every king
Mm-hmm.
needs a prophet. You know,
Mm-hmm.
every king, you need everybody listening to me today. You need somebody who's spirit filled, that's not eating at your table, being on your payroll, who's not your schmoozer, who's going to tell you straight up, you out of order, you're
Mm-hmm.
wrong, you're being arrogant, you're being prideful. You need that person in your life who's going to call you straight out and allow you to course correct. And if you don't have that, I mean, imagine if King David didn't have Nathan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
You, but the way you set us up to lead us to that moment, that statement you just made, because in order for me to be able to have someone who is going to call me out, who's going to hold me accountable, who's going to tell me when I'm wrong, is my heart has to be one in which it is humble, in one that is conscious of my pride. And so I love how you just queued us up for that answer, because the prior work that you reflected in your journey of being conscious of your pride, of recognizing and understanding brokenness, and understanding the importance of humility, literally positions your heart to be one that is teachable, coachable, and corrected.
yeah,
I love it. I love it.
that honestly, that comes that comes from the fire.
Mm.
That
Tell us
comes
about that.
from so the second year playing for the Rams, uh, I I broke my foot,
Mm.
and they were like, "You will never play football again." And and I was so angry at God. I was so angry at God, because I was a good guy. I did the right things. I tithe, and I mean, I like grew up in like a religious home. Uh, I had a unique drug problem because mom drugged me to church Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, the deacon, elder, Pentecostal old school. Okay, so I was a good person. So I'm trying to figure out, why is this happening to me? And they're like, you are going to get cut. And football was my identity. And so I wasn't humbled. I was broke. I was broken. And there's something about being broken before the Lord, to where God doesn't, I mean, I'm off the chain. Don't get it twisted. I'm off the chain. But he doesn't have to, yell too loud to get your attention. He just like, oh yeah. Okay, my fault, God. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Glory. I yield. I repent. And until you have a moment like that in your life, to be really honest, is, in my opinion, is really hard to walk in that. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
to be broken it up before the Lord. Man, it's
So,
hard.
so the fire refines our ability to stay humble, keep perspective, our position, understanding, is he God of all or not? Do you actually believe the scripture, or
Yeah,
is it just a book that you were reading? Like, are you ready to
yeah,
live that?
yeah.
When
And,
you
and,
said the
and
word identity, like I can
yes,
think of so many people who their position, their achievement,
yeah,
or their accolades is who they believe they are, and
yeah,
separating yourself from that to be clear
yeah,
on the difference between the two.
yeah, yeah. So the world has a vested interest of actually stripping you of your identity.
Mm,
And once you are void of your identity, naturally you desire to develop an image. The image is on the outside, identity is on the inside. Jesus was a king, a priest, a prophet, but he always related to himself as the Son of God. So if your identity is on the outside, whoever has power on the outside has power over you. So
mm,
now you're living yourself, from the external versus the internal, which is so dangerous because God didn't call your image, God called your identity. And
Mhm.
so having that 2 Corinthians 5:17, I'm a new creation in Christ Jesus, living
Mhm.
from that is so important. And I believe honestly the secret to answering this question and the previous question is
Mhm.
as old is a it's an old school word, old saint word that I'm getting accustomed to again in these last days, and it's called sanctification. It's like
Mm.
I have to separate myself from the current culture, because the current culture, everything that's in this matrix is geared to pulling you back into, what they see you as versus who you truly are. So
Mhm.
all the media, all the social media, the Facebook, it's like I got to pull back from that, certain times of the day and of the week and go on a fast. I got a flip phone. Like here's my iPhone. A few days a week, I got this little flip phone. My son's like, Dad, no, right?
Please don't pull that out.
I have to disconnect
Yeah.
to get the proper downloads and to have the proper
Mm.
positioning.
Mm. I love that. I have to disconnect in order to get to downloads for the proper positioning. From
Hmm.
to me, I feel like you can't really fully tap into purpose without doing that and
Right,
living purposeful with
right.
all of the things that you've accomplished. You are living such a purposeful life. Like you've hit the NFL. Some children, some people are like, that's that, like that's where I'm trying to get to. But you say, yeah, I did that, but I'm not stopping there. Can you tell us, like, how are you continuing to walk that out, continuing to craft your purpose so that you're continuing to impact lives?
Dying, dying, just layers of just surrender. I'll use the word
Mhm.
surrender. Okay, surrendering my agenda,
Mhm.
surrendering my will, surrendering. Here's a man. Ooh, surrendering my dream.
Mm. Yeah.
It's like it's hard. It's so hard to have the American dream and God's dream at the same time.
They are not the same thing.
They're not the same thing. I think, I'm gonna get in trouble. I think the American dream was the greatest marketing ploy in the history of the world. It- Think about this. Everybody from all around the world comes to America up until recently. Will come to America. We're going to get this house that you're going to have a 30-year mortgage on. You're going to get this car, depreciating asset. And I don't want to get into the finances of it all, and you want to do all in the pursuit of the dream. And I'm like, at
Mm.
some point, God is like, I have a problem with your pursuit.
Yeah.
First of all, first of all, you need to be pursuing me, and I
Mhm.
will add all things unto you.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't have that dream and my dream at a certain level at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, God, I should be married. I want to. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whose dream is that?
Yeah. And I
He
think
would,
when
yeah.
we're able to actually slow down, as you said, surrender and begin to really listen instead of
Hmm.
always being the one to do the talking, it allows us to be able to hear more clearly. If our heart is humble, then we're able to actually receive as opposed to continuing to hustle, which is our culture. It is such a hustle culture and that grinding mindset, which is so exhausting. But there's an opportunity for us to really get present in whenever I talk about purpose, it is about the thing that you have been assigned today. That's your purpose. We're oftentimes looking so far down the road, like pursuing my purpose. Well, what's in your hand today? That is your assignment today. That's your
Hmm.
purpose. And if we do that well, you are showing yourself to be trustworthy with the next thing. Take your eyes off of trying to pursue the thing that's out there and really get humble, honest, open, and receptive to what's in your hand right now and do the right thing, the
Right,
honorable thing with it.
right, right. Um, Two things. Number one, I mentioned it earlier. I mentioned the word moment and memories, but there's a third word, and that word is momentum.
Mm,
And, when we're younger, we live a lot of our life in momentum, and we kind of look past moments, and then these moments become memories. And then when we get older, we live our life in memories. We don't live our life in the moment.
mhm.
And it's just really crazy. But if you take all your energy and put it into the now, put it right here, being faithful over the little, then you can moments, and then the moments will generate your momentum and you'll have better memories. Number
Yeah.
two, you said something very, very, very important. You just kind of glossed over it. Like you think you slick, right? Like you just kind of just like glossed over this, right? You said, which is really important, that this is a powerful takeaway for your audience and a reminder for me, is breathing.
Mm.
Proper breathing, slowing down your breathing to allow you to allow yourself to live from your heart versus your head. Yeah,
Mm.
your heart has 30 to 40,000 neurons. It makes decisions. Your heart is very powerful, and when you slow your breathing down,
So, the ability for us to slow our breathing down, to be able to fully take it in and receive a full breath, powerful opportunity for, and it regulates everything, regulates our entire body, our brain, and helps us really stay in the current moment we are in versus chasing after the moment that we don't even know we have been promised. I tell
right?
you that this is such a powerful opportunity for us to stay connected to you. I'm curious, what do you have happening? How can people follow you? They're like, I want to be in the moment so that I can build my momentum. So tell us, how can we stay connected, follow you, and what do you have on the horizon?
So on the horizon is, I really feel that I'm called to mentor and coach men.
Mm,
Uh, so many times men suffer in silence.
yeah,
Like example, we're told, not to cry, not to express our emotions when we're younger, and then when we're older, we can't express our emotions. But those emotions do express themselves,
yeah,
in various ways. So I'm working on coaching with men. That's number one. Number two is, of course, I'm working on other books and literature, and I'm open for uh, speaking engagements. My website is ShawnHarperWins.com, and everyone who's listening today, I'm gonna take this down soon. It's www.Shawn with a W, ShawnHarper.co. It'll give you a free copy of my book, um, and other material. And then there's contact information on my website. And so I have an actual amazing team. You can just reach out with any questions, thoughts, concerns, and boom, we'll do it. If you need prayer requests, our team will pray for you. So yeah.
wonderful. And we'll make sure that all of those contacts, and if people are on social media, what is your social media handle?
Oh, okay. That's a Shawn Harper speaker on Instagram. That's SHAWNHARPER. Speaker, Shawn Harper speaker on Instagram. Shawn Harper 75 on Twitter, which I don't use much. And yeah, that's basically about it.
Awesome. Shawn, thank you so much for sharing your story, your wisdom, and truly filling the hearts and souls of those who are listening. I feel like we're in such a season of toxicity, of things that could absolutely send us into a stressful place. So, my desire for the launch of season 12 is to be light, to be love and
Yeah,
light, and to show up in the space. And I thank you because you have launched season 12 doing just that. So I truly appreciate you. And for those who didn't catch all those nuggets, make sure you share this with others. Go back over the replay and remember how Shawn has explained to us the importance of forgiveness, the
mm,
power of love, the strength in humility, and recognizing how to stay in the moment so that you will be able to build momentum and more powerful memories. You spent this moment with us, and we appreciate it. I hope that you will continue to stay locked in. I am back. I am live. It will be live every Thursday. We have a special, exciting conversation coming up. We've got lots of new guests. We've got wonderful conversations, new platform, new experiences, but the same duo. Keith is here. I'm here, and we are excited to continue to encourage you that what you've been through does not define your destiny. There is a flip side to every adversity.
amen.
Stay in it, stay with us, stay connected. I do want to give you a heads up. We've got a two-parter coming up. So Shawn has launched us this week. Next week, we are actually reconnecting with Dr. Larry Anderson. If you remember him last year, he came on and talked about his first book, The Pastor's Diary. Well, we're going to
Hmm.
replay that episode because August 22nd, he's coming back with the whole crew of pastors' wives because he has launched book 2, The Pastor's Wives Diary. So we're going to be at the table August 22nd, having an honest, open conversation around how are we navigating together, creating safe spaces of love, honesty, and transparency, and continuing to heal together regardless of our positions. So, family, as I say all the time, I can't wait until next week. Same time, same place, right here on the flip side. But did you catch the new tunes, the new intro, the new music? I gotta give a shout out to the artist who created the music for us, Juan D. Sessoms. Thank you. And tell my girl I said hey. I appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week right here on the flip side. Trauma, toxic stress, broken habit, and hurting heart don't define destiny, but peace isn't passive. It requires an exchange. To create a flip and access peace in the middle of the pieces, you are challenged to make an exchange of the lies that have kept you mentally hostage in basement moments. Resilience isn't about bouncing back, but bouncing forward. Living Strong, the flip side of adversity, brings powerful stories and fearless conversations from experts in the field of business, relationships, emotional, physical, and mental health, and faith-based communities. Each episode creates a brave space with powerful tools from authentic connections. Tune in as we dig in with Dr. Jackson on the flip side of adversity.